For further analysis, we're joined from Cairo by the Secretary General of the Al-Farabi Center for Political Studies, Dr. Mukhtar Ghabashi. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on Qnews. Firstly, sir, let's start off by asking you, how do you evaluate Egypt's contribution when it comes to the Sharm el-Sheikh agreement, especially regarding the diplomatic approach, as well as, a long-standing influence within the region?
Greetings in the beginning. Of course, Egypt's role is very important. It's the one who hosted the contending parties in Sharm el-Sheikh. There were the Israeli party and the resistance party and other parties who played important role to alleviate suffering and to overcome the obstacles. We also hosted the Turkish party, and the US were represented by Kushner, the Trump's son-in-law, and Witkoff, the envoy to the Middle East. Of course, there were monitoring by regional and international parties. Egypt played an important role to close the gaps and overcome obstacles, especially when it comes to the plan provided by Trump and the response provided by the Palestinian resistance. Till now, we reached the agreement, the announced one in all the news and media.
Well, President Sisi also highlighted the need for the full implementation of a humanitarian access into the Gaza Strip. Now, you talked a bit about the obstacles, but what obstacles might hinder these objectives of access to humanitarian aid and the full implementation of the ceasefire plans within Gaza?
Let me be honest. This American plan is phased. The first phase is after 72 hours of ceasefire. The resistance will release the live detainees, the Israeli detainees. In response, Israel will release 250 Palestinian detainees, and more than 1,700 of those detained after 7 of October. This is very important, and it will show the credibility of the Palestinian resistance releasing the detainees. And also Israel released the Palestinian detainees and prisoners they have, who they announced that they will release. I imagine it's hard in the next stage. The next stages might be hard, as it's supposed to witness the Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. This might cause hindrances due to Israel, and there might be a problem regarding the disarmament of Hamas, as this is a wide issue. No party know what exact weapons Hamas have. Hamas doesn't have tanks or planes and so on. They have light weapons, so this mechanism of disarmament is a open term that might lead to troubles regarding the providing of humanitarian aid. We know in the first 5 days there will be 400 trucks allowed, but in the next days,
Well,
we
sir,
don't know.
you talked about the contentious issues that may come up during the negotiation phase, but also let's talk about the Egyptian role here as well. In what ways do you think that Egypt's coordination with Qatar and the United States could possibly strengthen the prospects for a lasting peace? And do you think that these different sides or aspects within the mediation efforts itself may pose some sort of different priorities for different parties?
The Egyptian role is pivotal. It started before this deal. Egypt played a huge role to reach this deal, and this will continue in the future. As I said, there might be hindrances that might happen by the Israeli occupation. Egypt might play a role with the US or regional and international parties to convince Israel to stop these hindrances.
The International Recovery Conference could mark a key milestone. What practical goals should Egypt pursue to advance Gaza's reconstruction and reaffirming Palestinian self-determination, which is always at the top of the mind of the Egyptians as well as the Palestinians? Obviously, it's the most important thing for them.
The reconstruction in Gaza is also something hard. Supposedly, there should be the tools allowed in Gaza to reconstruct, and the sources needed should be allowed in order to revive the strip. We know that Gaza is destroyed completely, and I think Rafah and Karam Abu Salim crossings should be ready to provide such tools or aid. The problem is, will Israel allow this? Will it go smoothly without hindrances? We don't know. This is the question right now. But Egypt emphasized the importance of this deal and to stresses the right of the Palestinians to self-determination, and this won't happen without a Palestinian independent state with Jerusalem as its capital. This is the hope. This is what we hope would happen.
Well, as you said, that the aspirations here is for a Palestinian state, and Egypt has reaffirmed this idea for the last 2 years and has held firmly against many things, including the displacement of the Palestinians. Now, the Prime Minister, Mustafa Madbouli, reaffirmed Egypt's unwavering commitment towards the Palestinian cause. How sustainable is this position amid the mounting political and economic pressures? We've obviously seen Egypt not give way for the last 2 years, but we're going to continue this, in your opinion?
I think the Egyptian role will be sustained, and of course it's a priority to Egypt to have a Palestinian state. There won't be peace or calm or the tension won't elevate unless a Palestinian state is established. We know there were clashes between Israel and the resistance in 2008, 2012, 2014, 2021, and of course the one we're living right now. There might be a renewal of the conflict unless there is an independent Palestinian state with the sovereignty and its own borders. That's Egypt's stance, and this is recognized internationally. We try to implement this as this is the only way that the region will have peace.